Well, I just want to put this video out for one special reason. Actually, if if there's one person out there that probably does the Jewish community more harm than anything, is George Soros. And I'll tell you this flat out. I'll just give you this. This is going to be the title of this video. George Soros is an anti-Semite. There's no doubt about it. He is, yeah, maybe he's born Jewish and maybe that means he's Jewish forever, but he's not Jewish. I don't care how you slice it. When he was growing up in his family was basically anti Semitic themselves. They were ashamed of their Jewish heritage, they were non practicing Jews. But, when you're looking around YouTube, when you're looking around anywhere that's posted on these conspiracy blogs or whatever it is, you'll eventually come across George Soros's name again, and he's Jewish. Well, the fact is, George Soros does not support Israel or the Jewish people. He does not give heavily to Israel or the Jewish people. He's been critical of Jews and Israel, blaming them for anti-Semitism, whereby it's actually George Soros himself that creates more anti-Semitism in this world than any single person that exists. I don't know how controversial this video is going to be or what or whatever, but that's the reality of the situation. I have to give you the absolute truth on this and make it, this is really the situation. This guy, I guess he's Jewish by blood, but is he Jewish? No, he's not Jewish in any other way. This guy is actually screwing things up for. I can't think of any one single person that creates more problems for Jews in Israel than this guy, George Soros. And it's not his name. It's Schwartz, Georgie or something. He's got some other name he was born with. It's not his name he was born with. I don't even know why. Well, I guess he had to Americanize it or something. He's embarrassed with it. Maybe like Dean Martin, right? Dean Martin changed his name, but that's show business. So why does this guy change his name? I don't know. I wouldn't have a problem if his name was Schwartz or whatever. So his name is Schwartz, but that goes along with how he was raised. His parents were ashamed of being Jews. I might actually have some Jewish lineage myself. I don't know this for a fact though. But that gets into such a crazy story that I have a hard time believing it's true or not. But some of that research had to have to be, well, it would be correct if Greg Hallett is correct about Edward the Seventh. If he's correct about Edward the Seventh, then yeah, I'm part Jewish. I don't know, but be that as it may. I mean, I got my own thing, but I realize that a lot of people on the airwaves, they look at these guys like this, and they're not Jewish. I mean, that's what the hell it is. They're not. This guy is like a classic poster boy of what, he doesn't support Israel. How the hell could it be Jewish and not support Israel? I mean, maybe I noticed that's kind of like, um, some Jews don't support Israel all the way, but then again, when you're multi-billionaire, well, this guy's openly been highly critical of both Netanyahu and Ariel Sharon, and Jews in general, and he also considers himself to be some kind of messiah figure. George Soros, that's as is commonly known. That's his name now. Anyway, he wasn't born with his name, but as far as the stories about him being a Nazi collaborator back when he was small in younger days, he probably was. I mean, some people say that's BS, but he probably was. Being that he wasn't really Jewish in a true sense from day one. His family was afraid. It was ashamed of it, actually, for crying out loud. I mean, this guy grew up that way. Um, but he thinks he's some kind of messiah figure. He's got an ego, Well, anybody that's a billionaire does have an ego. And, that goes along with Donald Trump, too. He can have an ego. I know George Soros hates Donald Trump, but they all got egos. I'll tell you, anybody got money got egos. That's a given, okay? They all got egos. But this guy, what burns me up about the internet in general is that they constantly point to this guy like, yeah, he's bad. I know he's bad. And yes, he is Jewish by blood, but he's not Jewish. He's an atheist. That's all he is. He's an atheist. He doesn't support Israel. He doesn't support Jews. I think the ADL has even openly come out against this guy a bunch of times, the Anti-Defamation League, for some of the policies he's pursued. But, it's popular opinion. It's almost like, you get past, George Soros is Jewish and George Soros does this, and then it screws things up for Israel and Jews in general. And this guy hates Jews in general. I think he does. He blames Jews. George Soros openly blames Jews for anti-Semitism. And George Soros is the guy that's freaking creating the most anti-Semitism in the world, of more than any single person going. And yet, he's only Jewish by blood. Period. That's it. He's an atheist. I mean, he wasn't even raised in a Jewish family, his parents were Jewish, but they were anti-Semitic Jewish. I mean, it's ludicrous the way the internet makes conclusions about things. It's freaking beyond belief. And I don't really know how this video is going to be received, but I don't really care. But I'm just telling you the truth on this deal. And I personally will always take up for causes that if I see an injustice. And I don't openly, like this guy, to me the NSA ought to just give this guy some kind of DARPA beam, and just the hell with it. You know what I mean? Just freaking disappear. That's what I would think, because he's an enemy of America. He's not just an enemy of Israel, but he's an enemy of America. He installed Barack Obama, which is a guy that is an enemy of Israel, or guy that makes nice, cozy, warm trade deals, nuclear deals with Iran. He's an enemy of freaking America and Israel. He's actually created more hate for Israel than Jews than I can think of any person there is. But like I says, I will actually take up cause with anything that is a minority. And actually, when people all jump on one way, and then I don't really care. It's almost like when I see an underdog and what's going on, I stick up for the underdog. And the real Jews, right now, as always, are to escape the real Jews. This guy is not a Jew. I mean, he's a Jew by blood. And maybe I am a Jew by blood. I am not sure about this crap because, I have to say it could be crap because Greg Hallett's research on King Edward VII may not be correct. And I know my great-grandfather was the illegitimate son of Duke Albert Edward. They became Edward VII, but then again, I don't know, there's some conspiracy talk about who the real father of Edward VII was. It could have been, Greg Hallett says it was Nathan Lionel Rothschild, and I'm like, whoa. That just blows me away, but because that would affect me personally. But I don't know about that, and I don't really, to me, I wouldn't care if it's him, but it'd be kind of weird that I was part Jewish. I was like, that's pretty weird. Anyway, so it's surprising. You put it that way, not weird, surprising. But as far as Soros, he is a guy. Well, then I could say I would almost like to say that because I would almost like to tell him, as a Jew, but I'm not a Jew. I'm Catholic. Okay, although I don't like the Pope, not this new guy. But let me put it to you this way. We're discussing religion here anyway. But let me put it to you this way. This guy has actually created so many problems for Jews, it's beyond ridiculous. And it's just a common theme you see everywhere. George Soros did this. George Soros just did that. And yeah, I know he's a bad guy. He did all this rotten stuff. He's an egomaniac. He's an atheist. So a lot of people recognize he's an atheist, but they say, oh, but he's Jewish. Ugh, crap, man. Come on, you know. He's terrible. I don't know why the NSA doesn't get after this guy for anti-American policies. He's a traitor to our nation. He's a traitor to our nation in 50 million different ways. Now, I just want to emphasize something at the end of this video, because I've actually put this out on many videos on YouTube about if you think I'm some asswipe for Israel, now if you watch this video this long, you're wrong. I'll tell you right now. I just tell people what I think, okay? It's my opinion, period. You know, if I thought Israel was really screwed up, I'd say it. I wouldn't give a shit, all right? You know, there's some things Israel does wrong here and there, maybe. Fine, yeah. But compared to the sea of crap they're all around with Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, and all the other scata that's around them, they look like freaking shining, glittering, the best people going, okay? You know, it's all relative, right? That's how I look at it. Now, if you think I just kiss ass and say politically correct things, wrong. Because I'll tell you one thing I've always done on this channel is I have stuck up for the Confederate flag. And not just the Confederate flag, but the Confederate cause, which was about unfair taxation being put upon the southern regional states, so the northern Wall Street in Washington, D.C. can get out of economic hardship and being in debt in the government. And, you know, it was also precipitated by, you know, earlier on by the Panic of 1857. And I went into all these different causes. It was a war that didn't happen because of, oh, the South wants to keep their slaves. No, that has nothing to do with it. Nothing. It was over taxes completely. As a matter of fact, this Confederate flag's cause was about, you know, hey, you know, we're going to fight because we're getting screwed on taxes, and you're only taxing us in the South on agricultural products. 13 states rebelled, sound that word again, 13 stars on this Stars and Bars flag, which represents the cross of St. Andrew in the red, white, and blue. 13 stars because there was 13 states in the Confederacy. Just like there was 13 states in the the colonies in the American Revolution against King George. But the taxes against the South were even more draconian. But you know what this also has commonality with? The Great Jewish Revolt of 66 A.D. Over largely, not only, but largely over Roman taxes. Roman taxes. You know, I'll tell you one thing. Probably won't care about this flag if it became like politically correct, not to freaking criticize the Confederate cause, and politically correct, not to say anything bad about the Confederacy or their cause and the flag. And the flag doesn't mean hate, and you can't say that. If everybody start thinking like that, I wouldn't even care about this issue. It's like I only take it for underdogs. You know what I mean? When they're correct. It's like David against Goliath, you know? So right now, I look at it like this. The real Jews in Israel, the real Israel, Israel's not perfect, I'm not saying they're perfect, are getting smeared by guys like George Soros, who is not Jewish. He's born Jewish, but he's an atheist. He came from a family that was embarrassed by their Jewish roots. He came from a family that was anti-Semitic. He's an anti-Semite. I think I've seen stuff. I don't know how much the ADL criticized this guy, but there has been criticism from the Anti-Defamation League on George Soros. So, for the internet that's out there that freaking associates George Soros with Jews, just break that association. It's just a bad association. You know, you might as well think of George Soros as a Martian or something. You know, I mean, He's his own thing. He's his own messiah. He's the god of world. He's an atheist. He knows everything, and never us people just don't know any better. And he's always formatting hate and dissent. And it may be part of his master plan to create hate and dissent against Jews in Israel, because he's sure as hell doing a fine job of doing that. I can tell you that right now. He is. Not that is like anybody that's this smart. And he got his wealth by shrewdness, not necessarily by crunching numbers. Well, crunching numbers too, but more shrewdness than even crunching numbers. Anybody that inadvertently, supposedly on the outside, is not is causing more hate for Jews in general and Israel, he's likely doing it on purpose. I mean, to me, it's a slam dunk. He is doing it on purpose. I mean, I can't freaking prove that, all right? But it's pretty obvious that he is the number one poster boy for anti-Semitism in this country. I can't think of anybody else that's more of a poster boy for that creates more anti-Semitism and more ill will towards Jews and Israel than George Soros. There isn't anybody even comes close to it. And the guy is basically against Jews and Israel. So, just want to put this out for a little public information. And if you think I am just kissing up to some political correct shit, I don't play that game, man. I don't play that game at all. Not at all. I guess maybe that's one reason I'm beginning to kind of like Trump in some ways, because don't screw with me. I'm a nice guy, but don't screw with me. That's what it comes down to. But as far as this guy Soros, he's never really even been raised Jewish. He came from a family that was embarrassed by being Jewish. He came from a family that was anti-Semitic right in the beginning. To me, I don't know. I mean, I really don't. To me, I got no problem with none of this stuff. I mean, with Israel or Jews or anything. It's like this guy does, though. I think Soros is a guy that, well, he's been critical of the, Ariel Sharon. He's been critical of Netanyahu. He's been critical of Jews in general. He's been critical of Israel. I mean, and when he was younger, they accused him of being a Nazi collaborator. Maybe like some people say he was stupid. He was young. He didn't know better. I don't think so. I don't think so. So for you people out there in conspiracy world, and all you people on YouTube that keep citing George Soros as Jewish and George Soros did this, you better look at the big picture, or the real picture. The real picture is, I don't know what you can call this guy. He's not Jewish. You might as well call him a Martian, for crying out loud. He's an atheist. That's what he is. He's an atheist with a lot of money, and he's got a messiah complex. And you know what messiah complex means? He's a micromanager and a dictator. That's what the hell that means. He doesn't give a shit about freedom. He doesn't give a shit about anything except the way he perceives things should be done. This guy is basically a dictator, but he's doing it in an economic way. So hopefully I've been clear on this. Maybe I've been clear as mud, and maybe not, but just want to put this out for information purposes. And this video may not go anywhere. I mean, fine, fine. So whatever, it goes to a couple hundred people, fine. But that's just what it is. That's what it is. And people ought to just totally break that concept that George Soros is Jewish. He's not. He's an enemy of Jews, and he's an anti-Semite.